Democrats have shut down the federal government over midterm elections? Well, Axios is reporting a PAC linked to Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer is even telling Dems they are, quote, winning that fight. Here it is. The Senate Minority Leader's top allies see the shutdown as a critical opportunity to define stakes of the 2026 midterms, which they believe will be dominated by health care and rising prices. The internal message, don't flinch. Meanwhile, people go without everything, including being able to pay prices and health care during the shutdown. Their paychecks are going to stop. All due to the Dems going after the midterm election message? Well, despite that optimism for them, new polling shows some troubling signs for the left.
October 2017, more than a year out, the generic ballot asking folks which party do you want to see control Congress. Democrats were leading on average in the generic ballot by nearly 8 points. Where is the generic ballot right now? Well, Democrats lead it, but not by nearly as much. The Republicans are sitting at 41 favorable, the Democrats at 35 favorable. The Democrats are less popular than the Republicans now. The Democrats, though, with numbers like that, you got to worry a little bit.
And that's what they call winning on the left. The Oval Office yesterday, President Trump offered his own take on the Dem strategy.
They're the ones that started it. They're the ones that have it. And it's almost like a kamikaze attack by them. You want to know the truth? This is like a kamikaze attack. They almost, they have nothing to lose.
Power panel now. Patrick Murphy, former Democrat Pennsylvania congressman, and Cassie Smedile, former RNC press secretary. Look, Patrick, when do you really look at this honestly and say, this is not how you message for 2026 when people within days are going to go without paychecks because they won't join the Democrats who've already joined the Republicans? They just need 4 or 5 more.
Amen, Harris. And I just did a Substack article about the trust or lack of trust in America with their leaders. Here you have two political parties in Washington, D.C. who are talking past each other, and we're talking about what it's going to hurt over 2 million federal workers, over 1.2 million folks on active duty in the military who will not get their paychecks. Now, again,
but, Patrick, this isn't talking past each other. I have to interrupt you there because I want the facts not to be laden with feelings. That's not what this is. It's easier to sell that than it is to sell the truth that Democrats, at least a couple, and now an independent, Angus King, have consistently been doing these votes along with Republicans. There's a reason for that. It's time to end it now. And the political points they're trying to score on the left, here, Cassie, take it away.
Yeah, Harris, you're making a good point here that this is the selfish Schumer shutdown. It is all about their own political points, which, as you point out, in the big picture of things with the midterms is not boding well for them. But specifically speaking, Patrick, you seem to be making the argument for reopening the government and for Democrats to vote to reopen the government, because if our men and women in uniform go without pay, if people are having their flights canceled and are not able to get to their loved ones because of this $400 million a day shutdown, then shouldn't you be saying, Democrats, get to the floor and vote to open the government? That seems to be the argument that everybody can agree on.
Yep. And Cassie, that's what they did back in March. And now they're saying, give us of a $5.7 trillion bill, give us $30 billion just on the subsidies for the Affordable Health Care Act subsidies that are going to go to the red states. But they're not negotiating either side. And this is the fourth shutdown under President Trump.
But you know that part of the big sticking point here, and I say it every day, $1.5 trillion in sweetener spending. That's what I call it. It's 7 weeks until they get to the next point when they have to reach a negotiation again and reach some kind of deal and policy going forth. Look, a lot of this, and it's true, when you hear Democrats from that Axios report, just don't flinch. Just look like you're fighting. They don't look like they're fighting for the American people. They look like they're just fighting against Trump. Cassie.
And that was my argument. That was my argument on Substack today. But I think you see Republicans like Marjorie Taylor Greene today. Okay, it's okay.
But I can tell you, you should be spitting those rhymes right here because that's the truth. All right, Cassie.
Right. At the heart of this is that the American people are the ones who are losing. But politically speaking, Chuck Schumer knows that he has painted himself into a corner. If he votes and allows his members, his vulnerable members who are also hurting back home because of this, if he allows them to vote to reopen the government, he can't withstand the political pressure from AOC and the left flank who really runs this party. But the longer he keeps it closed, the more he puts his vulnerable Democrats in jeopardy, the more we continue to see those polls that show Democrats are unfavorable in the midterms are going to continue to slide.
Look, Secretary of Transportation Sean Duffy didn't show up at Newark for his health yesterday. He's doing it for the health of the country and American flyers, as you were saying, Patrick. Let's move forward. Leading Democrat candidate for governor in California, Katie Porter, is feeling the heat after losing her cool in an interview. Porter was pressed about whether she plans to reach out to Trump voters, and her response is going viral, well, for all the wrong reasons. Just watch.
What do you say to the 40% of California voters who you'll need in order to win, who voted for Trump?
How would I need them in order to win, ma'am?
Well, unless you think you're going to get 60% of the vote. You think you'll get 60%. Everybody who did not vote for Trump will vote for you. That's what you're saying.
In a general election, yes. If it is me versus a Republican, I think that I will win.
Wow. After the reporter followed up on her claim, Katie Porter got angry.
I'm going to try to win every vote I can. And what I'm saying to you is that...
Well, to those voters. Okay, so you...
I don't want to keep doing this. I'm going to call it. Okay. Thank you.
You're not going to do the interview with us?
Nope, not like this. I'm not. Not with 7 follow-ups to every single question you ask.
Every other candidate has answered.
I don't care.
Follow-ups.
I don't care. I want to have a pleasant, positive conversation in which you ask me about every issue on this list. And if every question you're going to make up a follow-up question, then we're never going to get there.
Ms.
And
Porter,
we're just going to circle around.
I am an investigative
I have never
reporter.
had to do this before, ever.
You've never had to have a conversation with
to end
a
an
reporter?
interview.
Okay, but every other candidate has done this.
What part of I'm me? I'm running for governor because I'm a leader. So I am going to make...
So you're not going to answer questions from reporters? Okay, why don't we go through? I will continue to ask follow-up questions because that's my job as a journalist, but I will go through and ask these, and if you don't want to answer, you don't want to answer.
I mean, I could watch that all day. The reaction online has been swift and brutal. Texas Senator Ted Cruz said, "Crazy lady freaks out when journalists ask her actual questions." California Congressman Ken Calvert, "Her tirade is a window into the mentality of radical California Democrat politicians. They can't stand those who disagree with them." And Outkick founder Clay Travis, "Democrats are so used to media being their propagandists that they totally lose it when asked basic questions." Patrick, what would you say to Ms. Porter?
I would say there's millions of Republicans in California that if you're blessed enough to be the next governor, you got to lead all of the people of California, not just the Democratic Party that might help you get elected. And I think that is the problem, Harris, with not just this candidate, but people in Washington, D.C. They are so fixated on supporting their political party that they're putting their party over our country. You see it with the shutdown. You see it. We just had a congresswoman elect in Arizona who they refused a seat because of the Epstein files. Like, come on, let's get after it. Let's put the country first, and let's get those victims of Jeffrey Epstein. That's because when we deny or delay justice,
we've
delay
gone
justice,
sideways
it's denied.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
That's what you're saying.
First of all, Katie Porter doesn't even have anything to do with that conversation, but let's get it back on track with Katie Porter, because that video is everywhere, and it doesn't, Cassie, just damage her. It makes Democrats look weak, like they can't take a conversation. And then the offers by the journalist who she's like, "I'm an investigative reporter. This is what I do. But hey, you want to play it your way, just say you don't want to comment," which is deadly too.
I mean, the reporter was trying to help her, but I will say, you know, Harris, I worked on Capitol Hill as a comms director for 10 years. This just makes me bristle to see this. Oof. But more broadly, it shows her true colors, that she's a weak candidate, and also that she's not fit to represent the entire state of California, which includes Republicans and Democrats. But also, I would note Abigail Spanberger having the same issues on the campaign trail, with local reporters asking her about boys and girls' bathrooms and in girls' sports, and she had a horrible answer for it. Democrats are not used to being asked just perfectly fair, reasonable questions because they're used to being coddled by the press. We need to be holding their feet to the fire. I know your show does it beautifully, but I will give a hats off to these local reporters who are also finally asking these Democrats some real questions.
Yeah, I call that part of the Charlie Kirk effect, because they are a generation of reporters younger than I. When I first started out, I was doing it basically alone, and I didn't care. But now they have each other, and he was a bright light. I have to say that, especially after having Vivek Ramaswamy on this morning and reminding us of it. It's great to see you both.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.